So Anam Aloha everyone. Welcome to the live stream. If you could put your name and your where you're logging in from, that would be great if you want to, of course. And I'll just put the comments up so I can see them quickly. Great. Okay. So I hope everybody is doing well after that full moon. It was pretty intense. We're still in the energies, right? It's 3 days before and 3 days after. We can feel the energy of this full moon. And it's in Pisces, and it's all very emotional, and it's about letting go. So let me just grab my... get this over. And I figured out some tricks here. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's look at the chart here. The full moon chart of human design. So this, I'm going to change the title of this video because it's going to be for the human design types. Okay. Just to stay on my rhythm of Saturdays is for human design. Okay. So there we go. There's the chart. Okay, so everybody can see that. So we can see that the moon is in the 22.1, and that's the shadow of dishonor. You can see there, and it's the gift of grace. So let's look at what's defined first. So what gives it definition? Now, first of all, if you don't have your human design chart, go to jovionarchive.com and get your free type, your free chart. You don't have to give your email address or anything like that. There's no strings attached. And so you can follow along, okay, at jovionarchive.com. And I always put it in the information box for people to access. Okay, so definition, what's definition? It's when it's colored in like this, right? So we got this brown shape up here that's colored, and then this other shape here. So what are these two? This is the throat, right? The throat chakra right here. And then this is the solar plexus. That's the area of emotions. Very big deal for this new shift of the ages that we're in. We're going through a solar plexus mutation. So you can see that there's a 36 there, right? Here, and correlates to Neptune. You can see the shape there, Neptune 36.2, and then it's linking up to 35, right? And that's in Mars, right? It's right there, 35.1. So these two connect, and they make what's called a channel, and that's what gives it definition. So this is like a astrology transit. It's the same thing. So what is this saying? That we're collectively, we're all going through this transit. So collectively, it's very emotional, right? Because this is defined, right? So we've got our emotional body defined to the throat, so we can express. This is a manifestor channel. So we can express directly from our emotions, right? This 36-35. And so this channel is all about, it's called the channel of transitoriness. And it's about having human experiences, right? We're spiritual beings and we're all having human experiences. So this drives us, okay, fuels us emotionally to have human experiences. So, right, the whole collective is going to be defined emotionally. Only 50% of the world, like natally, I'm defined. My solar plexus is defined natally. So only 50% of the world, and then the other 50% are open. But we're all going to be defined now through our emotions. So it's really important because there's no, if you've got this colored in, right, the solar plexus colored in, this means immediately this is your authority, and that means there's no truth in the now. because you go through a wave. So we're all going through this now, like this roller coaster. So sometimes that emotional wave is low. It's not personal. And sometimes it's high. So sometimes you're feeling really sad and low, and then the other times you're feeling really up, right? So people who have a defined solar plexus understand this, right? So why there's no truth in the now, it's because of the roller coaster wave. So one point, you know, your emotional wave will come to clarity. Sometimes that's for me, it can happen as fast as like a couple hours, and my wave will be clear. And that's when you want to make your decisions. So you just want to make sure during this time that you're not like really tune into yourself. Am I feeling really, really low right now? And I'm going for something to make me feel better, because that's where the mind, right? The mind comes in. And that's the ego. In my world is Mr. Wormtongue. This is ego. This is the non-self. Will get in there and say, it's probably something you ate, or you need to feel better. Go get chocolate, or go have a coffee or something like that, or go spend time with this person that may or may not be good for you. You know, things like that. So you don't want to be making your decisions from high or low. You want to make sure that, like really big decisions, you know, important decisions, you want to really make sure that you're emotionally clear. And that means that's not your mind being clear, because that's never going to happen, right? Unless you meditate, your mind will be clear. And sometimes it's not, right? It's very turbulent, right? This is the shadow of turbulence, the 36, stirring up the muddy water, so it can really stir up your thinking too. It's when your body's clear. That's what it feels like when your emotional wave is clear. It's like, oh, my body feels clear. It doesn't feel turbulent inside, you know? So watch for that. And watch not reacting to other people, right? Because we're going to see a lot of emotional people, especially the people that have been repressing their emotions. Most of us, we've been taught to fear our emotions, right? This is what it's like. This is the emotional body, right? Thinking that you can repress your emotions and escape your destiny, right? That's the wave, right? What would you say? I'd say that person wasn't very smart. I don't know if he's photoshopped in or not, right? But this is what it's like, right? I'm going to avoid my emotions in this lifetime. No, because we're evolving through our emotional body. Right, we're evolving through our emotional body, and this is the way we're evolving into spirit awareness. And the only way in is through this emotional body, right? So we can't escape it. You can't escape it, and especially now because it's so emotional, right? With this full moon in Pisces, that it's there, and it's actually dangerous. I don't want to get dramatic on you, but it can be dangerous when you try to repress your emotions with your old tricks, because the addictions aren't going to work anymore. The vibration on the planet is way too high to hold that lower frequency energy anymore. Pharmaceuticals are not going to work anymore. All these things that we use to numb ourselves out, so we can check out, they're not going to work anymore, right? So it's like, why not just embrace your emotional body? And you're given, this is the repression, but this is the fear, right, of being overwhelmed by your emotions. If you just open them up a little bit, people have this fear, their fear of being emotionally vulnerable, and that there'll be this basket case, they won't be able to function. And you need to remember that the divine gives you what you can handle, right? So if it's not going to flood you and overwhelm you, and you'll be non-functional, right? Catatonic, unable to speak, in a coma because you're having some feelings, right? You're given what you need by piecemeal. So it's best to start this work, and this is what my Awakening the Sleeping Phoenix program is really preparing people for this new age that's coming, right? This 2027 mutation. So, let's go back to this shadow, okay? So every shadow has a gift, so there's nothing to be afraid of here. So this is the shadow of this dishonor, right? The shadow of dishonor. So you can see it here. It's coming off the solar plexus, that 22, right there. And so this is how your mind speaks. This is how you know you're in the shadow pattern, when your mind speaks like this, right? Your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings, because the mind wants you to close your heart, right? And we're this new age that we're moving into, this emotional body, right? And going into the spirit awareness. Well, what's happening in the solar plexus down here is there's a great alchemy that's happening, right? Through this is the enteric system, right? It's the second brain. It's our solar plexus, right? It's our gut. This is going through a huge mutation right now. And it's churning, right? It's churning things up, and it's mutating, and this is our emotional body, so that's what's mutating. It's gonna mutate into a whole new awareness system for us, the spirit awareness it's called. But what's happening, it's opening the heart. That's what it's happened. The alchemy is to open up your heart, like your heart chakra, fully open, not just a little bit. It's open just sometimes, maybe a couple times a year. If emotional things happen to me, it's like, no, this is the permanent opening of our heart chakra. And when our heart chakra is not open, we dishonor ourselves, and we dishonor other people. We do horrific things. You know this as a humanity. We do horrific things when our heart chakras are closed, right? We can go through the whole gamut of things of horror. I don't need to go into the history of humanity, right? This is all because of this closed heart chakra. So ego, worm tongue, is telling you that, none of this, nobody's going to know anything you do. Nobody's going to know your actions, like on the sly, when nobody can see what you're doing. Nobody's in your head. They don't know what your thoughts are or what your feelings are. Maybe you're pretending to be someone you're not, pretending you're nice and proper. That's the shadow of dishonor. And really inside you're feeling something completely different, right? So this is the ego mind is saying, no, nobody's going to know any of this, right? It won't be recorded, right? So you can treat that person with dishonor and don't consider their feelings. You'll get away with it. Just gaslight, right? It's your word against their word. Nobody's going to know. And that's not true, right? The spiritual truth is our subconscious mind, right? This is the spiritual truth that you're not going to be told. Religion's not going to tell you this, right? So there's three levels to the mind. There's the conscious mind. That's what you're aware of. What's the thought patterns that are in your head? You're aware of those, your conscious mind. And then there's your subconscious mind, and then there's the unconscious mind. So they're like layers of a house. Okay? So the subconscious mind, I could talk a lot about the subconscious mind, but I want to keep it focused here in terms of recording. So this is why we're all terrified of, like, we're under surveillance and we're going to have our digital footprints, and people are terrified of even being on the internet at all because everything can be tracked, right? We're all afraid of this because we know the truth that we already are under surveillance. It's called our subconscious mind. So it's like having a video camera on you constantly, and it records every action, thought, and feeling, right? So it knows, right? It knows what you've done. It knows the things that you've done with a closed heart. It knows when you've been inconsiderate to other people, right? And we've all done that, right? We've all done that. We just can't listen to the ego and mind saying that you can get away with it, right? This is the narcissist, right? And we all have narcissistic qualities because we got this. Everyone's got the ego. This is the spiritual path, is to transcend this ego and mind and lower self. And ego can't go through this emotional body because he can't live in this space, right? He can't survive in this space. So So what happens, it can haunt you, your subconscious mind can haunt you through your dreams, right? Or anxieties late at night. You know, when you get up and you're like playing over a conversation, or you have these feelings of guilt, right? Well, what's this showing you? It's showing, that's your conscience, right? It's showing you that you need to make a correction. Maybe you need to get on the phone and apologize to somebody. Maybe you need to write an email, right? Else it's going to keep haunting you and haunting you and haunting you, the subconscious mind, because it's coming from your soul, right? Your soul. And when we don't do this, this is what happens. We get karmically connected with these people, the karmic ties with these people. And then it's like, see you next lifetime. Let's play this all over again. Over and over and over and over again, right? So, what did I want to say about this? So with the solar plexus mutation that's coming, this gives us a buffer of time, right? Because this can sit in your subconscious mind. You can bring this into your next lifetime, right? Like I said, play this out with other people again and again and again. Well, with the solar plexus mutation that's happening, our awareness system is shifting, right? The way that we experience life is shifting, so that we're going to feel, right? Because the solar plexus, we're going to feel, because our awareness, we're going to be able to finally share awareness with other humans. It's starting with the soulmates and the twin flames, and then it's going to ripple to all the humans, that we're going to share awareness together. So that means when you're inconsiderate and doing something with a closed heart to another person, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel exactly what they feel like. You'll say something nasty to them with a closed heart, and immediately you're going to feel what they feel like. So you can see how the correction can happen really, really quickly. But right now we've got this buffer, right, of time and space. But your subconscious mind is haunting you. And the only thing that's stopping you is listening to this ego, the pride of the ego. No, you can't apologize. That will make you look powerless. You need to be in control. You can't show any emotional vulnerability, right, with the shadow of the 36, right? You can't show any weakness, right? You'll be powered over. And it's all connected to child. That's the big secret. It all goes back to childhood, 0 to 7 years old, right? So I remember this with a friend of mine, and we got in a little bit of a tiff, right? We we reacted to one another. I wasn't on my game at all. I was like really stressed out. This was like, 10 years ago or something like that now. And so she said, I don't want to talk to you again. I don't want to ever talk to you again. Right? And so I respected that, but it kept bothering me, especially as a teacher. You're teaching about forgiveness, and then I have this thing inside me, right? It's like I don't feel good about this, but I wanted to respect her wishes that she didn't want any contact. Well, finally, my intuition is like, you need to reach out, because I thought, do I want my last words to be that? What was in that email that I sent to her? That was very in truth, right? It was coming from my third eye, but it wasn't connected to my heart. And anything that's not connected to your heart, it's not in truth. Right? And I reread it, and it's like, yeah, this is very true what I'm saying, but it's not connected to my heart. Right? So I listened to my intuition, and I just apologized. I'm sorry. Right? This is what I really wanted to say. And then I just left it. Right? And I just left it, no attachment. And then I got this beautiful email from her like a week later, right? So that's what we have to look. That's what we have to look at it like that. Like in Mercury retrograde, right? All these planets are in retrograde now. This is the time to reflect on our relationships. It's all about our relationships. So they'll start to come. Your subconscious mind is going to start leaking, throwing this stuff up. Right? So that you can be free. It's all about being free, right? Free of this, and free of these karmic ties, right? That keep us together, right? Keep us tied in lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And it's really for you. Like, I even look at that myself. It's like, if I'm honest, it's like for selfish reasons. It's like, no, because I need to look at my face in the mirror. I need to honor myself every morning when I look at myself in the mirror. And do I want these things haunting me? That was haunting me, right? Haunting me. So whatever's haunting you, don't listen to the ego. Just reach out. Right? Reach out and make amends, make atonement so you can be free. It's about forgiveness right now, right? It's really about forgiveness. So that's what this shadow is really telling us, right? So the gift of grace is like everything's recorded. I'm talking about the subconscious mind. We also have the Akashic records. Everything is recorded in the Akashic records. Nobody gets away with anything, And if you're up late at night running over conversations, shoulda, coulda, then take action. That's all it takes. It's about joining. It's about joining one another. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? It's just joining with the other person so that you can be free. You can be free of this anxiety. So the other thing is spiritual leapfrog. About this shadow, spiritual leapfrog. So this is denying what the ego tells you, right? The little unicorn here. This is what the New Age, I have a beef with New Age spirituality, right? Because it's been infiltrated by the ego, and what's really insidious about New Age teachings is there is truth in New Age teachings, but then it's like got little peppered through ego. And when you're in tune with yourself, really be in tune with your deeper self. That picture here, like your deeper self, not the surface of life. You'll feel that, this isn't authentic. This is not authentic at all, right? So that's this shadow of dishonor, right? So dishonoring means denying your discomfort, right? Only light and love. I'm only focused on light and love. And if I have any discomfort in me, then there's something wrong. I need to run away from it. I need to escape. I need to escape it, right? And what it is, it's there for a reason. It's there for a reason. It's for your growth, right? This is your shadow, the dark areas, right? So with the spiritual leapfrog, it's avoid your shadow. That's what the ego says, and project it onto other people. It's them. They're toxic. That person over there is toxic. I need to avoid them and get away from them, right? I need to run away from my shadow, basically. We see this in the collective, right? D. Trump is the collective shadow. Listen to anybody, just throw that in sometimes, just the T word. Right? And you'll see people react because he's the collective shadow, right? And what they're doing is they're just projecting their shadow onto him. He's the scapegoat for the planet right now. And I'm not political. I look at it from a spiritual perspective, right? But it's about avoiding your shadow. This is what it means to be a child. And we're growing up, right? We're becoming spiritual adults now. So we can't be spiritual leapfrogging, like, I'm just going to go to some new agey ceremony, right? Some sound bath and everything's going to be okay. And I don't have to do any work, right? I just have to wait for a savior, whatever the savior looks like, depending on the discipline, right? And they're going to save me. And that's not going to happen with the cross of the sleeping phoenix coming. So this is the ego says to repress your anger, your fear, right? Your depression and your sadness. And this is spiritual leapfrogging. It's like you want to welcome all of this, right? As spiritual people, you want to welcome it all. So if I'm feeling angry, I'm going to feel anger. I'm going to let it be there. I'm going to give it a space, right? I'm just going to feel it. If I'm feeling afraid or depressed or sad, there's something there for me to look at. There's something there for me to alchemize. Right? That's what you're doing is you're alchemizing these not comfortable feelings, right? And you're alchemizing them into something greater. This is our ancestral work. A lot of this stuff, this 22, right? Everyone has a programming partner. This 22 is connected to the 47 up here. It's in the sun position. The 47 and the 22 are programming partners. That's all ancestral karma, the shadow of oppression, right? So a lot of this is ancestral work that we're doing, this anger, right? All those emotions, those buried emotions. So you don't want a spiritual leapfrog. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to just keep you in the ego. And you know we've all seen the story, right, of the spiritual teachers that have fallen from grace because they refuse to look at their shadow and they drag that shadow up, right? The more you go up in light and vibration, the more dense, right, that shadow becomes, the uglier that shadow becomes when it's not owned, right? So this gift of grace is really about taking responsibility for yourself, right? Taking responsibility for your own state of consciousness. What else did I want to say here? So I did a quick little tarot reading right here for the people that are going to be that are on here now and that will watch and look at in the future. So I just grab these. So the three of air, or the three of swords, right here. You can see it, yeah. There we go. You can see it there, right? The three of swords. So you can see the angels, right? And she's in despair. So this is where we are now, right? So we're already been given our work to do, right? And this is this 22 shadow, right? The shadow of dishonor is the suffering. This is connected directly to our suffering, and our suffering is actually a gift. I know that sounds masochistic, but it's actually a gift because we're using it to shatter our hearts open, right? That's why we have these experiences in life, is to open up our hearts. So this is sorrow, forgiveness, and healing. That's what this is saying. So it's to welcome this. And then look what's on the other. These two flew out together, the three of swords, and then the nine of water, the nine of cups. And the nine of cups is your wish fulfillment, right? It's your happiness, right? It's your dreams coming into fruition, but it's saying to do this work first, right? So this is really saying, like I'm talking about, is reflecting on your friendships, because this three of water is down here on the bottom, and that's friendship, right? And intuitively, I really feel, because we're changing and shifting so drastically now, and because it's connected to karma too. Our karmas are really accelerating now. That this means that people are going to come and go, right? Not everybody is going to be in our life forever, and you're probably feeling that. You know, the emotional connection is no longer there with these people. And maybe you're there in your mind because, well, that's what a loyal friend should do. We should stick by one another, and energetically you just feel like, oh, we're moving apart, right? They're making different choices. They're not choosing their spiritual path. They're choosing something else, and I want to go forward, right, on my spiritual path, but there's no alignment anymore here, right? And this is because it's the chariot, and chariot's moving. It's like moving away. So moving away from these friends that are no longer in alignment with you, but moving towards friends that are in alignment with you, right? That you're here to support each other in higher consciousness, right? And this is your wish fulfillment will start to come. So the three of air is to let it go. That there's nothing wrong. You don't need to lob bombs at people if you've outgrown them, you know, that you can appreciate the good times that you have had together. But now you've grown. You're growing apart, and that's okay. That's what life is, right? And just with this channel, it's saying you're ready for a new human experience, and your emotions are going to let you know. Your emotions, right? Where are my emotions? Where's my heart leading me? Not my mind. Right? This is all cross the planning stuff that we're leaving behind, not following our mind anymore, following our hearts and our intuition. And what not to focus on is the page of air, the page of swords. So keeping your focus and your attention off that, and that's about gathering information, right? More information, more mind. I need more mind food to make my decisions upon, right? Or being blunt in your conversation, like being dishonor. This is dishonorable, right? It's dishonoring people, and I'm just going to be blunt, and I'm not going to be in my heart, and I'm going to speak the truth, and who cares? I'm done with you, right? Not considering other people, not being compassionate towards other people. This is what you don't want to be in, right? Because people don't want to be emotionally vulnerable, but that's what's real. That's what's real right now. Yeah. So to watch this, when you're speaking, make sure that you're in your heart, and then your message will be received with compassion. But if you're just coming out with like a head on a stick, it's not going to be received by the other person at all. You'll be seen as inconsiderate and cruel. It's going to go in your subconscious mind, and it will haunt you. And you can run away from it and run and run and run, but on your deathbed, it will finally catch up with you, right? All this stuff. You hear about this with people that are dying, right? They have all these regrets. And the Three of Swords is about letting go of regret, right? Letting go of regret, letting go of sorrow. And then on the top, the spiritual advice is really interesting. That's the Hierophant. The Hierophant, that's the spiritual teacher in the traditional tarot deck. And that's about going to the spiritual, committing to your spiritual path, right? This is about your the final commitment. It's like, I'm committing to my spiritual path now, right? And it's great to choose something that has some roots in it. You know, the new agey thing, it's like the reason why, and I've attended some new agey things, and I don't want to bash them, but I've also attended things that have deep roots in a legacy, and the difference is night and day. One is like, it feels good and it's temporary, and the other is permanent transformation, and that's the legacy. So look to the Hierophant also says to look at your own culturally, what are you drawn to? And it could be a religion. Maybe you're really, really drawn to some kind of religion. And remember, religion's going away as an institution, but there's seeds of truth in every religion, and maybe you're more aligned with certain lineages. That's what this is saying, and to commit to something, right? That's got roots, that's got deep, deep roots for you, you know? And learning. So it's getting committed to your spiritual path right now, and that's what's really going to support you, right, as we move through these times. So traditions, right? The Hierophant's also about traditions. And then the bottom of the deck was justice, right? And that's the karma, which is so fitting with this 2247 that we're in for the full moon. And this is like a karmic cycle ending, because it's Pisces, right? Some karmic cycle is ending for you. And so to moving towards these friends, community that are more aligned with you and where you're going, and moving away from the people that are no longer aligned with you. So this next 2 weeks are really going to show you, because it's all about letting go, right? It's about letting go. Okay. I think that's all I want to say about the 22. So when you start to take responsibility for your own state of consciousness and your own actions and deeds and words, and remember, it's not being accountable to anybody else, right? A savior or somebody else, God, even God. It's like you're accountable to yourself and your own state of consciousness. That's what you have to look at. It's you that has to face you at the end of the day. So you want to do your best, right? It's about doing your best. Grace comes when you're transparent, right? When you're transparent. And grace comes when you're in integrity. When what's coming out of your mouth is matching what's going on inside. Inside and outside are matched and in harmony, right? You want to be in integrity now. There's no more hiding, right? The masks are being ripped away day by day. We're going to be able to see each other so clearly and frequency. So it's best now to embrace transparency, not listen to him. The ego is telling you you can hide and you can get away with all these things, and you can't, right? That's going to end. Those days are going to end pretty quickly. Okay, let me see some comments here. And then we'll go to the readings. So Shaima, I think you're a manifestor, right? C.A. Patterson's a manifestor, yeah. Lake Waldasia Campground. Yeah. Generator. Oh, that's great. She's a 6th line, your daughter, manifestor. Yeah. Okay, PK, Satnam, Sydney, Australia, Jamie Lynn, Jennifer from Vancouver Island, Sajalatna, Kalava, Karen from New York, Lisa. Yeah, Jamie Lynn, I've had some crazy dreams too. Yeah, it wasn't intense. Well, and then we'll continue on. Pisces also is ruled by Neptune, while Jupiter in Neptune, but Neptune's the modern ruler, so that dissolves, right? So Pisces will be dissolving something this full moon. It's all about letting go. So you'll know when you tune into your intuition what you need to let go of. Jeanette from New Jersey. Good people got their chart. Okay. Okay, and then you guys are Teresa Satnam. Okay. Okay. Oh, channel is the Reflector. That's great. Robert Satnam. Angry Manifestor. Yeah. Okay. So these are the types. And I want to, okay, we're there. I want to do the overlay so we can look at the types. There we go. Overlays. Okay. So let's start off with the generators. Oh, I see. There we go. There's the generator. 70% of the world. So 70% of the population are generators. The generator family, 35% manifesting generator, 35% generator. They generate the life force energy. Right? No life. There'd be no life on the planet without the generators and the manifesting generators. So if you're a generator, you got an open and enveloping aura, and your strategy is to respond. So you let life bring you things and then you respond, right? So you attract things into you and then you respond with a yes or a no, right? Yes or no from your sacral. And that will be correct for you. Okay. So the generators, when you're operating correctly, you're going to feel satisfied. You're going to feel fulfilled, especially in the work that you do and how you use your energy. You got lots and lots of energy, life force energy. So let's see what the message is for the generators for this full moon. So with that, I just want to bring up the chart again. With that, right, with that channel of transitoriness that we see there, it's really calling us for new experiences. So generators, you want to be making sure that you're checking in with your sacral. That it's saying yes, right? So not when it's saying no and not listening to the mind that's talking you out of it. You're here to have human experiences and we can't be afraid of living. A lot of people say, oh, we're so afraid of death. We're not afraid of death. We're afraid of living. We're afraid of living. Living our life. Okay. So what's it say for the generators? What's it say for the generators? Let's see for the generators. Oh, that popped out right away. So the generator's got the Two of Earth right there, or the Two of Pentacles. And this is going back and forth on something. And as soon as you're back and forth, that's when you know that you're in the mind. Because that's what the mind does. It goes back and forth. Well, what if I did this? This would happen. This might happen. This may not happen. Well, what if I did this? Back and forth, back and forth. But you want to make your decisions from your sacral. Right. So let's see what the ego is saying. Maybe I'll do another card for the Two of Earth. So you got more clarity. It's also about finding balance too, the Two of Pentacles. Right? Sometimes life's like that, right? It's just like, it's movement, right? Life is a wave. You got to be surfing that wave. Okay, what's the ego telling the generators? Okay. So it's saying that the generators have a self-sabotage pattern going on. Self-destructive pattern. So this is undermining your actions. And they're not aligned with your goals. Yeah. And then look, you got the Eight of Water, the Eight of Cups. Right? This is walking away. Walking away from something that's not fulfilling anymore, and you're going back and forth about it. That's what it's saying. You're going back and forth about walking away. You can see all the 8 cups, right? It's finally, I've had enough. I've had enough. I feel frustrated as a generator. I'm walking away, right? I'm starting to walk away now. And this is good for you. But you're back and forth about it, right? So go to your sacral, generators. Right? Go to your sacral. So you want to answer with a yes or no. And this is when you bring a friend in or a trusted ally and to get you in to ask you a question. So you have to, because you got to respond, right? So the response could be, could you ask, if, because we're on the friends thing, You know, do I need to walk away from this friend that I've been friends with for 10 years and we've shared so much together? Maybe we raised our kids together and they went to school together and we have all these great memories, but I really feel like we're on a different page right now, you know? Maybe she watches the news and she's really into like the propaganda and everything and believes it, and I'm trying to help her, but she's not receiving my help. You know, and then get your friend, let's say the friend's name is Susan, get your friend to ask me, should I walk away from Susan? Should I no longer be friends with Susan? And then go to your sacral, and your sacral will give you a yes or no. And that's what you want to obey, right? And then you deal with this, like you can't see that, but you deal with the sorrow of that, because there's going to be grief there, right? There's going to be grief. And then you just feel it. And you walk away, and it means you're walking away to something better, right? That's more aligned for you, with you. So self-sabotage, self-destructive pattern from childhood, undermining actions not aligned with your goals. So maybe it's holding on to some friends, some people in your life that are no longer aligned with your goals and where you want to go in this lifetime, right? So this could be a self-sabotage pattern, you know, some self-sabotage pattern. This is... in terms of your friendships and walking away. Yeah. And it could be using somebody as an excuse. Well, I can't go forward because what about this person in my life? How will they survive without me? They need me. And meanwhile, you're just using them. The ego's just using them, right? This would be an example of a self-sabotaging pattern. But the great way is human design. Totally gets this out of the picture, because with human design, you're taking your authority from your mind. I'm going to be using my mind, which we've been trained in the cross of planning, right? The cycle that we're leaving since 1615 is to use our mind to make our decisions, or run to a friend who you know, right? It's like, okay, I really want to go on this retreat. I want to go on this spiritual retreat. I want to take a program, right? Maybe do some inner child work on this program. And then here's an example of self-sabotage. But I'm going to call my friend up who's not interested in healing, who's like wants to run, like sprint. She'd win the Olympics for sprinting away from her shadow, right? And any kind of discomfort. I'm going to ask that friend, oh, should I go? Do you think it's a good idea if I should go or not? This would be a self-sabotaging pattern, right? It's like, subconsciously, you know what she's going to say. She's going to be the voice of your resistance, right? And so this would be an example of that. But you got human design. You just go to your sacral. Get your friend to ask you, should you go on this retreat or should you go take this program or not? And then you listen to that. This is the cross of the sleeping phoenix that's coming, and that's all about self-empowerment. That's going inside, that you're your own inner authority, right? You are your own inner authority. So this is pushing good things away from you. So to watch that ego wanting to push good things away from you, right? And then you'll get to see it. You know, when you're in this space, that ego becomes really, really small when your awareness starts to expand, right? This is doing emotional work and inner child work and shadow work. Your awareness starts to expand, and then you start to see these patterns, these undermining patterns that have probably followed you from lifetime to lifetime, right? These self-sabotaging programs that you're clearing out. So that's really easy peasy for generators. That's why Ra, the teacher of human design, the founder of human design, the generators can wake up the fastest, right? Because their strategy is so easy. It's just yes or no. Like listen to the yes or no. Yeah. And then the challenge is to commit to it. And then to deal with the backlash coming at you. But it's all coming from the mind. It will come through people, but it's really coming through this ego. Okay. So that's the generators. So let's go for the manifesting generators. Okay. Okay, so the manifesting generator is the same strategy as you respond with a yes or no from your sacral. Right? For the manifesting generators. So let's see what it's saying here. Just in terms of this honor, the gift of honor too, right, with this 22, gift of grace and honor. It's to honor another person that maybe you're leaving behind. It's just to, I don't know, just take a moment with your journal or something and write down all the positive things of that relationship, positive things that you've learned, how you've grown. To not go to that, because you can burn, some people can burn bridges, you know. It's like, oh, I'm done with them, right? Get into the superiority. I'm done with them. I've outgrown them. I'm going to burn this bridge down and not really take that moment to honor, right? To honor your relationship. Because we think that we form relationships, right? But it's really the divine that brings people on our path to learn and grow. Okay, so what do we got for the manifesting generators? What do they need this year? The manifesting generators. The MGs. Want to feel fulfilled, satisfied. They want to create. They're the creators and the builders on our planet, or these generators. What do they need to hear? I have to wait for the jumper, so I can feel one coming. What's the manifesting generator need to hear? Interesting. So they got the 9 of air, right? The 9. This is the 9 of swords. You can see the swords. This is the anxiety, right? Up at 3 a.m. That kind of energy. Not sleeping at night. Negativity, worrying about things. Totally the mind. So worrying about something. Let's see what the ego's saying to get the full picture. Worrying. The mind has 1,000,001 things to worry about these days, right? We're losing control. That's another shadow of this shadow pattern of dishonor, is losing control, fearing losing control, which is the mind. The mind is losing control. Okay. Okay. Let's do one more card. So you got the manifesting generators. The ego is talking you out of your intuition. Talking you out of your intuition. Okay. So it's all swords. It's all about the mind for the manifesting generators. right? So the ego is there and it's saying, is talking, you're getting your intuition, right? Your intuitive voice is speaking to you. Intuitively, you know what to do. But your ego is talking you out of your intuition. So this is this 9, right? This 9 of air up at night. And that's the what if this, what if that, what if this, trying to talk you out of something that you just know, right? You just know. So you know what you should do, but you're letting your ego talk you out of it. Okay? So with the ego, how the ego has power over us is because what's generating this is fear, right? This 9 of air. These are just the sprouts. The thoughts are the sprouts, but the seed is fear, right? So that's the ego's blackmail. That's how he's getting in. That's how he's getting into your head, right? With this anxiety and this what if this happened, what if that happened, well, what if this, and worry, is because there's fear that's generating these thoughts. So you need to go to the root, right? You got to go to in here. You got to go in here into the emotional body. And then the ego is, you have to leave the ego behind, and the anxiety and the worry and the noise in your head. You just have to breathe long and deep. And when I get up late at night or early in the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning with my mind going crazy, it's always a sign. I got to go and meditate. I got to go and sit still and meditate, and not listening to the head, to the thoughts, but go deeper and to feel like what am I feeling? And there's always fear. It's always fear. And then there's grief, right? So anger, fear, grief, that's going through the emotional body. And then you have the cry. That's the side effect of the detoxifying your emotional body. And then the crazy mind stops. It's not back, because then the ego's got no blackmail on you anymore, right? In a sense, he's got no blackmail. There's nothing fueling him anymore, right? When you're clear emotionally. So this is unintegrated fear. That's what I'm saying with this 9 of air that's got you worrying. Go deeper. Feel it. And remember, it's just emotions or energy in motion. It's just a frequency in your body that wants to move, right? And the ego won't let it move, right? You're going to be weak. You're going to be overwhelmed by your emotional body. You'll be a basket case. You won't be able to work or survive, like all his horror stories about keeping you from walking through that tunnel. That's your evolution. We all have to walk through this tunnel, right? So your intuition is trying to reach you. That's what I see. Your intuition is trying to reach you, and the ego and the mind are trying to block you with this anxiety and this worrying. And let go of control. Like, this is what we have to do now for this new age of Aquarius. Is like the mind can't control. We don't know what's going to happen. We have to walk into the uncertainty. It's all about having faith. That's what this gift of grace is you're not going to let grace in, right? Like fully into your life until you surrendering your mind to the divine. That's what you're doing, right? And human design, you've got your strategy. Yes or no with your sacral, trusting yes or no. So this is also saying that if you're getting a yes, right? I'm getting a yes with my sacral that I have to leave this relationship that I'm in, right? It's not healthy for me anymore. And right, so you're getting the yes, that's your intuition. You can say that, right? Your strategy. And then the mind and the ego are in there with the worry. Well, how are you going to survive? How are you going to pay your bills? This relationship you're in now, he's carrying all the weight, right? He's paying all the bills. How are you going to survive? Right? You don't listen to any of that. All you do is obey. You obey your sacral response, that it's correct for you. You're obeying your intuition. And things grace comes in then. There's a room for grace and a higher power to come in to guide you and take care of all those needs, right? There's just a crow that flew by my window. It's a green. Yeah. But really, it's about dealing with the fear, this underlying fear, because that's keeping you in this state of anxiety, right? And all it is, it's like you got a fire going, and then the anxiety's throwing gasoline all in the fire. It's just ramping up the fear, right? Keeping you away from moving forward. Yeah. And then you've got the Ace of Air, which is another sword. So this is mental clarity, right? Mental clarity will come. Inspiration will come, right? But it's moving out of this fear state. That's what I see. Yeah. Yeah, that's positive. If you just do the work, do your inner work. Don't spiritual leapfrog, right? Don't be the unicorn manifesting generator, right? Don't listen to the ego saying that you need to be the unicorn with the rainbows. You shouldn't be worrying. Like don't listen to this. Don't listen to this. Try to escape it, right? Try to escape it. Or there's something wrong with you. All your other new agey friends don't feel like this. You can tell when somebody's lying, especially with new agey people. No, I don't want to be judging new agey people. I'm just using that kind of archetype, right? With all like everything's light and love, and I love you, brother, I love you, sister. But underneath the frequency, there's something else going on, and it's not in integrity, right? It's like they've got unintegrated emotions. That's what I'm picking up on, right? Yeah. So you don't want to be repressing manifesting generators, your fears, right? These fears, let them come up. They're showing you something and they're leading you, right, into this spirit awareness. They're cracking your heart open. They're making you more real. They're making you more authentic. They're making you more present in your life, right? So not to be afraid of it. And certainly don't be listening to the ego and the mind, right? The ego does not have your best interests in mind. The ego wants you going over a cliff. That's where the ego wants you to go, spiritually over a cliff into annihilation. Okay, so that's the MGs. And I love that everybody, that I've got a set of worm tongue cards that are coming. They should be coming next week. I'm excited to see them. It's the top 78 hits of the ego, the top 78 hits of worm tongue. Okay. And it helps to have a form, like to give it a form and a name, because as soon as you name something, then you're in separation of it. It's like, that's not me, right? This ego isn't me. It's a powerful tool. Okay, what are we on now? Let's go for the reflectors. There's one reflector. And if you're a reflector, write in the comment box that you're a reflector and give us your report, right? As a reflector, give us a report. What's going on for you? Because what's going on for you is going on for the collective. 1% of the world are reflectors. They have to wait for the lunar cycle. So they're deep in this full moon energy, the reflectors. Okay. The reflectors. They have an important role. Okay. So reflectors want, when they're not operating correctly, they're trying to be generators, because most reflectors want to be generators and manifestors, is they feel disappointed, right? Disappointed by their experiences, disappointed by people, and they want to feel surprised and delighted. That's when you're operating correctly. You're surprised by life. You're delighted by people. The people that you meet, you're delighted. Okay, what do we got for reflectors? Reflectors. Those reflectors. I knew a reflector really well in the yoga community back in Vancouver. He was always so tired, right? He was so tired all the time. And it was because our community was totally workaholics, right? Always a project, always working 24/7. And he was showing us that, right? As a reflector. It's the power of the reflector. What a role to take on, eh? In this lifetime. As a reflector. They're completely open. They got no colored in centers. Okay, what do the reflectors need to hear? What do the reflectors need to hear? For this full moon. Oh. We got a big letting go theme, which makes sense. So you got the Six of Swords. I just want to get another one because I got two for each type here. So you can see the Six of Swords, right? Moving on, sailing on, sailing on. It's a relief. So the reflectors is moving away from something. They're going on to greener pastures, the reflectors. That's what it's saying to do. So that could be a relationship or a job or a place of living. Do we have another one for the reflectors, please? I'm going to wait for the... Oh, this one wants to come out. So relationships, you got the Two of Cups there, reflectors. So that's partnership. That's a romantic partnership or just a partnership. It could be a business partnership too. But some kind of commitment or a reconciliation too, like somebody coming back. But it's saying that you're going towards that, right? You're leaving something behind and you're moving into something really good in terms of your relationships. So maybe you already know who this person is. So you want to make sure that they get you, right? And that's waiting for the moon cycle. Go through the moon cycle. And if they're truly for you, they'll be very patient and they'll wait and they'll want you. Okay. What's the ego telling the reflectors? So we can put it all together here. There it goes. Oh, that's interesting. So you got the just end it ego. So this could be a dark night of the soul moment for you, right? This is death temptation. It's called the death temptation. And it also means like just end it could be like all the way across the board, like just end your life. That's the trump card of the ego. That's when you know you're onto something really big, when the ego's throwing that at you. Or just end it. It's like, oh, there's something really big here for me. But it's also about ending some situation. Just end some situation. Which is interesting because it's connected to that Six of Air of moving on. But this is a healthy moving on, right? The Six of Swords is a healthy moving on. It's coming from self-love. This isn't coming from self-love. It's coming from self-hatred. That's the ego. So I feel like what it's saying is that you're really close to some huge breakthrough, some huge awakening. This is the dark night of the soul. And that to not force, that's what it is. Don't force this moving on, reflectors. Don't force it. Just allow it to organically happen for you and it will happen. Yeah. Because sometimes if we leave something prematurely, you know, if it's a karmic situation, like a karmic relationship, and we prematurely like force it, we're forcing the wheel, you know, the wheel of karma too soon, then then what the divine does, it just recreates that whole scenario again. Maybe not with the same person, but with a different person, you know, different name, different face, different body, maybe different place of living, but it's the same frequency, right? We can't escape our lessons. So that's what I feel with the reflectors, right? And you need to be patient, right? You got to wait for a whole lunar cycle. Yeah. And if you're in that state of like the ego is like right on me, worm tongue's right on me about a death temptation, and there's a lot of people that are tempted now. We're seeing it. The ancients said during this time, a lot of people would choose to leave the planet because it would be too painful, right? Because that emotional body is starting to release. Those ancestral memories are releasing, and it's painful. It's discomfort. There's a lot of discomfort, right? They would choose to leave. So to watch this, right, this ego of this temptation, well, it's got to be better than this, right? Death has got to be better than this. It's got to be better than that. It's just like to hold on. And you're moving to somewhere better. You're moving to the Two of Cups. So have faith, right? This is what this 22 is about, reflectors. It's grace. Allow grace to come in. This is to have faith in the divine. 100% have faith in the divine. That's not that good is coming. This is hope, right? This is hope, right? So hold on, the light's coming. If you're in the dark night of the soul, the light's coming. Like to know that the light is coming, and it's coming soon, right? It's coming soon. But it's about letting go, naturally letting go, not letting your ego dictate, I got to let go, right? I'm going to force this letting go. It's like, you know, energetically, you know when something's let go, and you know when you're trying to force it. It just won't work. It doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. And this makes sense with the reflectors, because this is exactly what's going on with the collective. Right? I don't know how many people I've spoken to, and when they're honest with me, they're like, I don't want to be here anymore. Especially when we've been on the spiritual path for a long time. I don't want to be here anymore. I understand that. Right? But we got to hold the light, we got to hold the hope and the faith, and let grace move through us. That we're being birthed, right? And right now we're like being squeezed in the birth canal, and it can seem really dark and uncertain and scary, but we have to hold on, right? Yeah. So that's what I see with the reflectors. And remember, reflectors, personally and personal. You're having your personal human experience, but you're also in tune with the collective, right? You're in tune with the collective and what's going on with the collective. And there's a lot of death temptation, right, with the collective right now. Yeah. Okay. So let's go for the projectors. The projectors, 20% of the world. And I'm a projector, 2-4 emotional projector. 3 parts right. So 20% of the world, we have to be invited. We have to be recognized, and we have to be invited. So invited to a place of living. These are the 4 big invitations that you have to wait for. So place of living, your job, your career, deep friendship. You got to be recognized in your friendship, invite it. And then romantic relationships. You have to be recognized and invited. And when you're operating correctly, you're going to feel successful. And when you're not, you're going to feel bitter. Nobody's recognizing me. Nobody's inviting me. And nobody wants my help, right? Because we're here to guide the other types. Okay. What do the projectors have to hear? What do the projectors have to hear? Okay, and we'll do one more card. So the projector's got the 8 of air. So 8 of swords right there. The 8 of swords. You can see him. Right? And so this is victim thinking. The 8 of swords is victim thinking. But it's a prison, but it's a prison of your mind. But you've created it with your mind. So it can create confusion, doubt, self-doubt. Okay. That one kind of came out. Okay. So victim thinking, which for projector would be, nobody wants my help and invitation's never going to come. Things will never get better. They're only getting worse. Starting to doubt your strategy, like waiting for an invitation. So doubting your strategy would be trying to be a manifestor, right? I'm just going to go and manifest. I'm going to initiate, make things happen. This is BS. Except it won't work, right? Energetically, it won't work because you're not a manifestor. Your aura type is that of a projector. So again, I would go to the emotions, right? With this victim thinking. Because really underneath it, if you go underneath it, there's probably fear. Will an invitation ever come? The fear that an invitation will never come. Or my life will never change. Okay, that's way too many. Okay, what's the... Wow. They want to jump out, but there's way too many of them. Okay. Be here all night. Okay, what do the projectors need to hear? Okay, there we go. Okay. It fits with the victim. Okay? So why does this keep happening to me, right? That's the mudra for the victim. Why does this keep happening to me? Okay, so this fits with this because this is the victim card. And the thing is with the victim, right? They're not imprisoned, right? All he has to do is pick up one of those swords and walk straight through, or probably walk around, and he's out of this. He's out of this prison. That's the thing. So, so why does this keep happening to me? That's the ego. So the ego is saying that life is happening to you. So when you allow it, right? When you allow, right? Even one little victim, this is how it can work. I've noticed this with my own mind. If I just allow one little thought of doubt to get, just to be there, I just allow it to be there, and then I start feeding it, right? And then other thoughts are attracted to that one little seed of doubt. That's all it takes. It's like, I'm just going to consider this thought form that's rooted in doubt and rooted in fear. Then it magnetizes all these other thoughts, and then suddenly you're in this prison, right? This mind prison. Yeah. But the root of it is this fear. So it's going to the root, right? The seed of doubt. There's another seed, right? Then that's fear. It's to go to the fear, the emotions. Go to the emotion that's feeding these thoughts. So the victim thinks life is happening. Life's just happening to me. Life is random, and I'm a victim. Right? It's the randomness of life. There's no order. This is what the ego tells you. There's no order to life whatsoever. Your aura has no power. You have no power, right? It's just happening to you, right? And it's interesting too, because with this 22, it's about accountability. To honor yourself is to take accountability. It's like, why am I attracting this? Why do I keep attracting this pattern to me? Why do I keep attracting people that don't recognize me as a projector? Why do I keep attracting people who don't invite me? They don't recognize me. They don't invite me. They don't value me. I feel silenced. You got to start asking yourself this question, because it's like, where's my accountability, right? How am I not seeing my own hand in this creation? Well, there's a memory, right? So this goes deeper than human design. I don't have that image up here. But this solar plexus, right? Because this is what's going through the mutation. The emotional body gets developed from 0 to 7 years old, right? So this is an echo of a memory, right? Why is this happening to me? Because it's an echo of a memory that's coming from my emotional body, where I wasn't valued, where I wasn't recognized, where I wasn't seen, I was invisible, right? So your emotional body, right, that's hurt, like, let's go back to 0, 7 years old. That was hurt that I wasn't recognized, that I wasn't seen, that I was invisible. I felt invisible as a child, as a little projector child. Well, it's unintegrated. It's stuck there. It's like a clogged drain. It's like a clogged drain, right? The emotions aren't flowing through you. So that sends out a frequency. These emotions have crystallized, right, in your emotional body, and then it attracts, right, the perfect environment, the people that echo those feelings from 0 to 7 years old, when you weren't recognized as a projector child, right? Well, you won't be recognized, right, as an adult, so you can feel that stuck emotion. That's all. That's all it is. So that's what I would say, is to go deeper into the emotional body and to feel those like, what does it feel like not to be recognized? What does it feel like to not be seen, to be invisible, right? And then they'll start to move, right? They'll start to move. And there may be anger, because you got bitterness, right? As a projector, it's like, I'm angry about this. Like, why can't people see me? And I'm trying so hard, like I did when I was a child. I'm trying so hard to be seen and recognized. That's a non-self projector. That's what the ego tells you. This is the non-self projector. You got to go prove yourself. You got to do something so people can see you and recognize you. Of course, it doesn't work because it's not authentic, right? But what you're doing as a child is you're looking for that unconditional love. You're looking for that acceptance, right? So that's what I would say to the projectors, is to go to the feeling. Get out of the mind, because this just keeps you trapped in victim thinking, right? It makes you more and more bitter. Bitter, right? You want to go to the feelings. That's how you're going to move the energy. Not by going out here on the external and trying to control everything out here on the external, but to go within, right? Because there's a memory with this, right? Why does this keep happening to me? This victim thinking, because there's a memory. Then the memory is coming from 0 to 7 years old, right? And then you got the Justice card. So this is karma. This is the karmic card, and to me, it's just because it's in Pisces, and it's been it's our background. We got it here, the bottom of the deck, projectors, right? So this is the end of a karmic cycle. That's coming to an end for you. Yeah. Of maybe not being seen, not being recognized, right? Not being invited. It's saying that this is coming to an end. There's a balance that's coming. And I really feel this for a lot of projectors, right? Because we're the next leaders of the age of Aquarius, or the projectors, and it's a very humble position. Right? It's not an arrogant position like in the Piscean age. It's servant leadership. Yeah. So some kind of fairness is coming back. But it doesn't mean that you don't do your inner work, right? Justice will come when you do your inner work. And then you're clear. Then you'll be clear, right? And you'll be okay. It's like if somebody doesn't recognize me or invite you, the thing is with the Justice cards, you're not going to attract those people that don't recognize you or value you anymore, because you don't need it anymore. You already moved those emotions. You see? And then if you do come across people that don't recognize you or don't value you, you're just like, oh, whatever. They're not for me. It means that I'm getting closer to the people that are for me, right? Yeah. Are there projectors out there? I can't see. Oh, thanks. My back does feel a little bit better. But you know what? It was emotional. That was totally emotional. The moon was right on my Chiron. Still is right on my Chiron, like sitting right on it. And it was not feeling supported, right? The 8th house. Totally fit with the astrological. It's pretty amazing how that works. Because it came out of the blue, right? This back thing. It's not like I did something and then, it just was coming from this. Probably some kind of karmic thing. But it was showing me, and yesterday it rained. Like it's rare for it to rain so much, like all day here. And the rain, it just makes you really, really internal. So it was like the weather was was helping, right? Was supporting me to go inside and to feel, right? To feel that emotion. So that's what the emotional body, it can crystallize. Those stuck emotional energy can crystallize, and then it comes into the physical. So it's grabbing your attention, Yeah. Okay. So that's what I would say to the projectors is just go inside, do your emotional work, go to the inner child. Don't go into I'm a victim. Go into I'm being supported right now for my healing. This is why I'm attracting these situations, and I know they're uncomfortable, but you know what? I'm not going to spiritual leapfrog over them. I'm not going to listen to my ego and spiritual leapfrog over it. I'm going to feel it. That's doing the work, right? That's what's doing the work. Yeah. Yeah, Jen Goodwin, that's where my Chiron is in my back seized a week ago. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and Rebecca, you're a Taurus projector. That's me. I'm a Taurus projector, double Leo. Myself. Okay. So let's finish it off with the manifestors. With the manifestors. There we go. The manifestors. 10% of the population are manifestors. And they're here. And we've got quite a few manifestors, I think, on the chat. Where are they? Right here. Yeah. They've got the closed and repelling. They got the closed and repelling auras. What we got for the manifestors. Closed and repelling auras, because they're here to move energy. They're here to receive divine inspiration, right? Intuitive downloads. Go here, do this. Whatever their guidance is. And then they're here to share. This is what I'm doing, informing. And then they initiate. So they want to share. They want to talk to people. Share what's going on for them. And then they like to when other people share with them. Let's see what the manifestors. Okay. Okay. Waiting for the jumper here. Oh, there's one. Oh. There was one hiding underneath here for the Manifestor. So the Manifestor got the moon. That's the major arcana card, the moon. Right there, the moon god. So this is it's interesting, right? The full moon. So this is what's hidden. What's hidden. It's like the deepest fears, right? But it's very intuitive. Because the moon, we never know what's going on in the dark side of the moon, right? So it's your subconscious mind. It's the past. It's illusion. Because our fears can be illusion. And our fears are illusion because they're coming from our emotional body, right? Is 0 to 7 years old, if we want to stick with this, right? 0 to 7 years old, our deepest fears come from. That's how we deal with them, right? In this lifetime. And so the fears come up, and the illusion is created when the ego gets in there and makes up a bunch of stories about why you're feeling afraid. We're trying to figure out why you're afraid, you know? And full moon in Pisces, I mean, those fears can be coming out of nowhere, right? It's like, where is this coming from? Why do I feel so afraid? Well, don't listen to your mind. And then you got the Four of Wands right there. So this is celebration. It's like coming home. They call it the twin flame card. The twin flame card too. Celebration. So there can be a lot of fear around this, right, for the manifestors. But this is such a happy card, right? Let's see what the ego card is here. But we can become distrustful of happiness. I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? It's like, why am I so distrustful? Why do I have so much fear around happy things? Well, it goes back to your childhood, right? When we were happy. When we were happy and we were joyous and we were free and we were in our heart chakras, and then something happened, right? Some event happened. And it doesn't have to be horrific. It could be like my mother didn't pick me up at school. Something happened to her and she went into the hospital and she was in an accident and I was all alone waiting for my mother to pick me up at school. Right? And I was 5 years old and I was really, really afraid and it was dark at night and, and then this gets buried, right? Gets buried. And so then when a happy event happens, like, a Four of Wands event, like here it is, here's your happiness right before you, can bring up this buried fear of when you were a child and you may not even remember it. It may be so repressed. It could be really, really traumatic, right? So it brings those fears up. And I talked about that. I had that meme. Remember my meme about twin flames? How that's the purpose of the twin flame journey. Is these are the new Aquarian relationships as they come into your life because they show you your deepest unconscious fears, right? They show you your moon, what's going on inside you. So what the ego does is blames that other person. Well, it's them, right? It's them. Stay away from them. That's what starts the separation, right? The runner dynamic. I'm going to run away, but you're really running away from yourself, right? So again, it's just about facing these fears, like the other types that I've been saying, is to go deep within, These are just fears that are coming up because they want to move. Because clearly life wants you to be happy, right? But you can't be happy when you're trying to repress your fears, when you're trying to do this, right? Thinking you can repress your emotions and escape your destiny. Oh. Okay. We got a story happening for the manifestors. So this is more ego lies. It's that joke, right? If the ego's mouth is moving, it's lying. It's lying to you. If its mouth is moving. If its lips are moving, he's lying. So the ego is telling you it's selfish to think about yourself first. It's selfish to think about yourself first. This is all across the planning BS that we've been taught, right? Remember, across the planning, this cycle that we're leaving for 2027, it's based on a bargain, right? It's based on a bargain. You do this for the tribe, and then the tribe gives you this. The tribe gives you support. The tribe gives you a job, right? The tribe does this. The tribe does that. But there's always a bargain. A sacrifice needs to be made with the tribe. And this fosters a codependent relationship, right, with the tribe, with these institutions. This is all coming down. And what does the tribe want? They want loyalty. The tribe wants 100% loyalty. And if you're thinking about yourself, or you're thinking outside the box, or you're thinking for you're loving yourself, that goes against tribal consciousness, right? What happens if everybody starts doing that? That's what the tribe says. Well, there's no tribe. So this is about sacrificing your happiness for other people's happiness. And this is rewarded by the tribe. Oh, isn't she a good mother? Isn't she a good person? She sacrificed so much for her child. She sacrifices so much for other people, right? And the message is that it's wrong to love yourself, right? To love yourself. So this is about letting go of this paradigm, because this thinking is ending. There's not going to be any support for this anymore. You're not going to be supported for sacrificing yourself anymore. With the cross of the sleeping phoenix, it's about self-empowerment, right? And just with the mother and child, because that's a perfect example of this sacrifice, right? And the lower frequency of it. The worst thing that you can do for your child is that. Because what are you teaching them? You're teaching your child, your daughter, your son, the same thing. It's wrong to love yourself, right? It's selfish to think about yourself. That's what you're teaching them. And then this continues, this codependency, right? Codependency on other people, right? For your happiness. Yeah, right? So the ego is telling you that it's wrong. It's wrong to love and take care of yourself. It's wrong to follow this 9 of Cups, your happiness, your emotional fulfillment, right? And this is what this time is showing us, right? And this is how we heal the world, is when we start to really love ourselves 100%, and it's not selfish, it's not egoic to love yourself. We always think of, it's narcissistic. No, it's to love yourself, is to treat yourself as a child of God, is to treat yourself as sacred, right? That you actually heal others. You're going to heal your children. You're going to heal your community and your family by the frequency you're sending out, because you're sending out unconditional love to others. So don't listen to this ego telling you that, that it's selfish if you're thinking about yourself first. As soon as you have those thoughts, that's what you got to break through. These are these ancestral patterns that we have to break through now, right? So go to your childhood, because that's the origins of it. This is 0 to 7 years old. Something happened to you as a child, right? Where you were taught that it was wrong, right? Don't take that last cookie. Well, what would your sister, your brother want? Needs it. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't think about yourself at all. This messaging gets pounded into people, right? And it creates these adults, that banana spine adults, right? That are terrified to be themselves, terrified of what other people think of them, not living their life, not being authentic. That's not a self-empowering human being, right? That doesn't help. It just keeps this old cycle going, right, of codependency. And the thing is, when you're out of your power, right, the ego will make you say, well, you're in your power if you're thinking about other people. That makes you a good person, right? This so fits in with the 22, right? of this dishonor, because you're dishonoring yourself, manifestors, especially manifestors, right? Dishonoring yourself when you're speaking to yourself like this, right? That it's wrong for you to take care of your own needs and to take care of yourself. It's more noble if you take care of other people. This is all the conditioning that we've got to let go of. It's all BS. It's all BS. And this means that you're at the mercy of the ego, right? You're at the mercy of the ego when you're putting your happiness below everybody else's. Everybody else's happiness is more important than my own. I can't do this. What would other people think of me, right? Yeah. So self first is very, very key. That's a key teaching for the sleeping phoenix, is to take care of yourself, because then you're filling your own cup. You know what I mean? It's like when you're nurturing and taking care of your own needs and your own happiness. And this isn't about like, well, what about my baby, and my baby's screaming because it needs its diaper change. That's not about that. Of course, you take care of that, like emergencies that happen. I'm talking about giving up your happiness, right? And what your intuition is telling you to do, where it's leading you to. You're pushing that all down for other people, right? It's a total dishonoring of yourself, right? It's a total dishonoring of yourself. And it's disempowering yourself. It's disempowering people around you. And it's disempowering humanity when you do that, right? And you're not loving yourself. So, what else? I wanted to say something about that. Oh, the cup, right? So you're nourishing yourself. You're taking care of yourself. What makes me happy? You're doing those things. You're filling your cup, right? You're nourishing yourself. You're filling your cup. And then you can go and offer your cup to other people because it's overflowing. But if you're running around and there's nothing in your cup because you're not taking care of yourself, you're not loving yourself, you're not filling up your cup, and then you're running out and it's like, I'm giving you my cup, right? I'm nourishing you. I'm taking care of you. I'm putting your needs ahead of mine. There's nothing to give. Your cup is completely empty. So what are you doing? You're giving to take. This is the harsh truth of these people that think it's selfish to love yourself, right? You're here, I got you some water. Well, there's no water in your cup. Well, you got to give me water then. Do you see? It's like the giving to take. You got to dig these little weeds out, these little tricks of the ego, right? Giving to take, right? So you want to be nourishing yourself first. It's the best thing you can do as a manifestor. Well, all types, right? Nourish yourself first, and then you can give to others. And then you're in your power. Right? Okay, so there's fears, there's deep fears, and it's the moon, so go to your mother, the mother, right? Your mother taught you all this BS, right? That's what you want to dig out. Dig these things out. And all it takes is go into intuition, put a prayer out. I'm ready to face these fears, these deep fears, right? This fear of loving myself and putting myself first, right? Yeah. Who taught me that, right? And I want to let go of this fear of what other people think of me. Fear of like being rejected, right? Because the manifestors have that fear of rejection. So this could be coming from your initiation. You're being called to initiate something that's connected to your happiness, because it's the Four of Wands. This is home. This is your home, right? Not just like a structure, but your home where you're emotionally fulfilled, where you're happy, right? And so you're getting this divine download is telling you, like, go here, initiate, do this, but this is coming up. But what if? And it's coming from your childhood. It's coming from your childhood. So don't listen to the mind and the ego. Go to the feeling. Oh, I'm feeling fear about this. I'm feeling a lot of fear about this. Well, it's coming from your past. It's the moon. It's the past. It's your mother, right? Your mother stuff. And then you let that go, right? And then you recorrect, right? And self-love, self first. That's a natural law, is self first, to take care of yourself first and your own needs and your own happiness. It's your life. You know, when you die, your mother's not going to be holding your hand. Let's go off to the beyond together. Your child's not going to be holding your hand. Let's go to the beyond together. You are alone with your soul. That's it. That's the truth. That's who you're with. So sacrificing to others, right? It's not a good use of your energy, manifestors. That's what I see there. So, what else do I want to say about that? And the moon is also very intuitive, right? So clear up the fears and the intuition's going to come stronger and stronger. And just go into that space of like, I love myself and I deserve to be happy in this lifetime. Like, and really feel that. I deserve all good things in this lifetime, you know? And that I can initiate. I have this power to initiate my happiness, and your divine guidance is leading you to your greatest happiness and joy and to your destiny, right? That's what I see there. Yeah. And get over this. It's wrong to love and care for yourself. This is a big lie told by the ego. That ego told your mother, that ego told your grandmother and your great-grandmother, and on and on and on. But you're going to stop that pattern in this lifetime, right, as a manifestor. Okay. So that's what we got for the manifestors. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see here. I've got all the cards here. I just want to do a little wrap up. Yeah. So a lot of swords to let go of for all the types, right? Victim thinking for the projectors. Worry and anxiety for the manifesting generators. And needing to move on for the generators. They need to move on for something, from something to their happiness. I just really feel like there's a fear of the types and moving towards their emotional fulfillment in their happiness during this time. You know, and I know there's a lot to be afraid of and fearful of out in the world. But the greatest thing we can do right now as light workers and light bearers and I can't think of the word. The ships. What are they called? The lighthouses. The lighthouses, right? As the lighthouses is to be happy, right? And to spread that frequency to the collective, right? To the collective. Because we're here to rebuild this new earth together, right? And then this gives permission to others when you're loving yourself, like the manifestors, loving yourself is and then the reflectors moving to their happiness too. There's a lot of movement to happiness that I see. Then it gives others permission to do the same, right? As role models for this new age of Aquarius. Yeah. I just have a question here by Lake Waldensia Campground. What's the difference of a 6 line when you do these readings? What does that mean? You mean as a role model? There's probably a delay. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's it. That's what I got for this full moon. So, oh, there's 22. I love the numbers, right? The 22. And the 2-2. This relationships, right? The 2-2. So, have a good day or evening wherever you are in the world. And really just what the 22 is really showing us that everything is welcome. Whatever emotion is coming up for you is welcome, right? So don't push anything away. Just let it be and feel it. And just trust you're going to be supported. I found that yesterday myself when I just went deep within my own self, that I felt completely supported by the divine, because that's our real work. It's not our job, our JLB that we're out doing in 9 to 5 and getting the paycheck and paying our bills. Our real work is this alchemy that's going on inside each one of us, right? So to value that and to value your strategy and your type, right? Okay, so I'll see you next time. Okay, Satnam Aloha.